Today's video is going to be a decluttering of face palettes. I guess I have, okay, I'm even counting duos just because it's easier and it lessened the load on, say, highlighters and bronzers. So let's get started. First one we've got is the Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. And I have it in the second shade range, 02 Citrus. So the top is creams and it's kind of locked in with its own little, I guess, door. These are all creams. I die for this one. If I would just buy this by itself. If I could probably do without, I don't know, these two are really great. If I just had these three, I'd be so good because you guys know I'm not much for blush, but I do love cream blush. So I really love this palette. I'm not gonna declutter. I'm just gonna keep using it until it goes yuck, but so good. And we have swatches right here. I don't know what this is. This is just shadow. Anyway, that highlight in the summer, I use it pretty obsessively. It is a bit much, but it looks so good. And that's like a, what do you call it? A heavier swatch. And then on the bottom are powders. Let me turn the light down. So the highlights are gorgeous. So the one on the far left, it's like pure sparkle. And then the other one has a little bit of pigment in it, but they're just so beautiful. So next are the Charlotte Tilbury duos. One is filthy because it's been around for so long. So this is light medium, this is medium dark. Obviously I really used this heavily when I first got it. This one I think still works if you are light medium because the shades are very complementary to like almost any skin tone. I think you can use this as a blush, or the way I use it is I use it just like to kind of top my bronzer to give it more of like a burnt look. And those are the swatches. So yeah, it's a little darker, but it's nothing that you can't blend out. They're both just so good. The formula is amazing. Keeping both of these. This next thing is from Stila. It's their face palette. This is in the shade Umbra. And while I do like this, I don't reach for it a lot. It's very soft, and I guess the word flaky almost comes to mind when I think of this palette. I love a lot of things from Stila. I kind of wish they would do individuals because a lot of things are in palettes. They release like lip powder palettes. They have this in 2 shades. They have a highlighter palette that is gorgeous. It has like a purple, almost an orange, and like a gold if I remember correctly. And I had bought it before, used it as like an eyeshadow palette because the shift in them is so beautiful, but I just can't justify it for like an eyeshadow palette, I guess. So I returned it, but this I think I'm just gonna declutter. They are very pretty. I just don't reach for it, and I, again, would prefer they do singles of things. So those are swatches. I mean, the highlights are beautiful. I would probably purchase like that center one on its own. This is the Natasha Denona Blush Duo in 7, and obviously it's not really a blush duo. It's kind of like a powder and bronzer. I do like it, but I'm gonna declutter it because I never reach for it because I tend to only use this shade, which kind of is a waste for me. I'm sure this would be a really pretty blush. I will say that this color is such that I feel like light to medium, and then any more than that you really can't do it. But this, I think a lot of people can use. And those are swatches. Okay, so here are 2 items from Jade. This, when I saw online, I thought it was like a bronzer highlight, but it's actually closer to like blush highlights. So obviously blush is not something I do, so I'm gonna declutter this. This one is just like a face palette. Again, there's like a blush. I didn't purchase this. I think it might have come free with my purchase, but I mean, I do like the bronzer, but it's not enough to keep the whole palette. So those are swatches. If that was a bronzer highlight duo, I would keep it, but this really leans more blush-like on me. And then those are swatches of the trio. I mean, the highlight is really gorgeous too. Okay, so this is gonna be hard to film this one. Okay, so this is from Becca. This is the Khloé Kardashian one, and I love it. I would recommend it to you. I have considered getting the other one. I like the tones in that. Here's the thing, I always feel like, yeah, I'm like medium is what I have to tend to get, but I tend to always like the shade range, like the tone of the darker palettes, but obviously they're too dark on me, even with like a light hand. But with these kind of products, they're like these like gel powders. So if they go on sale, I might pick up the other palette because I really like this. I can wear both of the highlighters in here, and then this is really pretty as like a almost bronzer topper, and then the bronzer is really nice. So this one is matte, the other three obviously have shimmer. I love this. It is also a really good eyeshadow palette. I picked it up when I had my like redeemed points for Ulta, so it was free for me, but I absolutely like could have bought it. So I mean, so good, right? It kind of reminds me of like a Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow quad. Love. This is the Marc Jacobs in Mirage. I don't know if he still makes this. I have to think about it. I really like it, but I never reach for it. Like I almost forget that it's in my collection, but the tones work really well for me. So those are swatches. I think I'm gonna like put this on my vanity and use it again because so good. This is a cream blush duo from Tom Ford in the shade Scintillate. I know it's weird that I picked this up, but I do like cream blush. So this is like a really good thing for me to use. Like when I'm doing like pretty much all cream makeup, this comes into play. I mean, not as often as I would like. I've probably used it like 5 times. And those are swatches, so you can really see the blush. It's like this like almost transparent one, so I really like that because it doesn't add too much to the face. The reason I don't like blush, and specifically powder blush, is because it adds too much. I don't want to say texture. I don't have like textured skin, but I feel like blush makes everything look more textured. Because once I have bronzer and highlight, I don't want to add more. And on the top, you can see the highlight is just kind of like my skin tone, but like glowy. So I really like this. Keeping. This is from L'Oreal. It's the Chromatic Bronze Palette. It comes in 1 shade. If you see this, grab it. It is so good. Again, it kind of reminds me of a really good eyeshadow palette, and you can definitely use it that way. But I think I've only seen this line at Ulta. And L'Oreal does this thing where they only release certain things at Walmart and certain things at Ulta, I think, from what I've seen, because I don't see like these kind of special limited edition collections like released everywhere. But if you see this, grab it. So good. Those are swatches. I mean, these are heavy swatches, but this color on the lid, just amazing. And then the bronzer, I thought it would be too like orange on me. It's not. It looks really good. That's like, again, a heavier swatch. These are also very pigmented. This is a duo from Chantecaille. It's called La Serena. And I mean, you know, I'm a hoe for some big gelée. And this is just stunning. I believe it's limited edition. I picked it up, I picked it up this year, but I think it was released last summer. But so good. I just love everything that's like a baked gelée, especially bronzers, because they look like nothing on the skin. Especially if you do like a non-powdered look, it just looks so good. And those are swatches. Keeping this one. This is pricey. I did it when, I'm trying to remember who I bought it from, but there was definitely like maybe Neiman's, when they do like 25 off 100 or 50 off 200, that kind of thing. So this is a trio from Stila. It's the Heavens Hue highlighter formula. I got this when it was first released, so this is much older, and I'm gonna declutter it. I have since purchased this in a full size. And did I get this one? I have like a lot of these like full size because they're like, is it like 10 bucks off of Nordstrom Rack? I love them. And I think Ulta did like a promo once where they were like $15 each, like for the big full size. I love this formula so much. I use these highlighters all the time. They're so easy. They look beautiful on everyone. And there's a shade for everyone. That's another thing I think sometimes that brands should be applauded for when they release a lot of shades for highlight and or bronzer. We're also focused on foundation and concealer, but you know, we all like other products as well. So I really love the shade range here. They're all beautiful. When I do my cream highlighter declutter, you'll see them, but I am decluttering this, but I love the formula. So left to right, the pink is Transcendence, Kitten, and then Bronze. Really, really good. One is warmer and one is cooler, but I think anyone can wear both. So this is Moonlight, this is Sunkissed, and I love these. These are very old in my collection, so I'm going to declutter them. but I think they're still on the Pür website, and I really kind of want them to, I don't know, revamp or re-release these because they're so good. I know no one talks about them, but I love them. They're a really good cream to powder formula. So the top is Moonlight and the bottom is Sun-Kissed. So good, and no one talks about them. I'm like, why doesn't anyone love these? Are they not like babam enough? But they're like really good, really pretty. Everything about them is fantastic. Okay, next up we've got some by Terry. These both are the Sun Designer palettes. This one is Light and Tan Vibes and really gorgeous, really pretty. These were both sent to me at some point. It's just brush, right? You can't get your brush in there, even though I think the formulas are amazing. I just don't reach for them. The formula is also such that like you could really apply these with your finger. Like they're so like, I love that. I don't know what kind of technology goes into those kinds of products. The new RMS releases that are powder, the highlight and the bronzer, again, they're like things you can apply with your finger. It's just, it's wild, guys. Okay, and then this one is Tropical Sunset. And again, they seem like they're really bright. You could easily apply them like whatever, especially I love orange blush. I'm a big fan of orange blush. NARS Taj Mahal. Oh, die, so good. And then this area is much more cool tone and it doesn't really, I don't know, it goes really warm, really cool. I think I'm gonna declutter because I don't reach for it, but I do think they're good. Also packaging on this one. Okay, so the top is Light and Tan Vibes, and then the bottom is Tropical Sunset. This is the NARS palette. I mean, packaging is killer. It's the, I think, Bord de Plage, and while I like the colors in here, I never reach for this because the brushes, it's hard to get brushes in here. So when I use this bronzer area, I kind of just swish it between the two. And then, I mean, you could use any of these highlights and it's pretty and it's fine, but I don't know if I like this kind of formula for their bronzers. I mean, not that I really liked the original version of their powder bronzers, and then they kind of did this kind of very hard pressed baked formula, and I don't even know if I like this. Now, as far as highlighters go, the new lineup of highlighters I really do love. Fort de France is absolutely beautiful. So even though this packaging is gorgeous and it would make really beautiful decor, I'm gonna declutter this one because I really don't reach for it. When I was swatching them, I'm like, oh my God, so good. But I just, performance-wise, I can't be like, oh my God, it's amazing. This is a NARS Duo in Hot Sand and Laguna. I love Hot Sand. I now have a full size of it, so I'm not too pressed to keep this. This Laguna is extremely hard pressed. I think if you maybe have a heavy hand, it would work out for you. But again, with NARS, I'm just kind of waiting for them to do like a really excellent bronzer formula. So I'm gonna declutter this. And those are swatches. Hot Sand is a really, really unique highlighter. Hate that word. But it looks, you can apply it heavily and it can be like the most outstanding highlight ever. But the tone is kind of like skin tony if you're kind of like light medium. Excuse me. Light medium and medium skin tone. You can use it all over your face. So I really love it. I'm so happy to have like a full size. I think it was limited edition, but they also had at some point released an entire collection around this color. So there was like a liquid, powder, I can't remember what else. Did they do a body oil? I mean, NARS they tend to do body oils. And then you have Laguna, which is a really good color. It's just, I don't reach. This palette is from the Estee edit. I am really still upset about how this brand was discontinued. I loved so much from the brand. When I do eyeshadows, you'll see like an eyeshadow palette from them that I really loved. So this is like a highlighter face palette. I'm gonna declutter because I just need to, but I don't, it's just so good. I mean, if they would just kind of bring out this brand again, I would be so into it. I loved all of their powder products. I don't know about like maybe say like their eye stuff, eyeliner, mascara, that thing, those kind of things, but all of the eyeshadow palette, this palette, the bronzers, I thought everything was really good. So decluttering, but those are swatches. I feel like someone else could really enjoy this. This is a Tom Ford kind of eye and face palette called Pink Glow, released, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. I love it. I have it in here because it's a face palette, but I use it exclusively as eyeshadow. So pretty. You get like one of those like lid toppers. Keeping this. So those are swatches. The formula of everything is so smooth. I mean, I guess maybe because these two are supposed to be for the face, but again, like I said, I use the whole thing as an eyeshadow. And I just want to make sure you could see that lid topper. But I really love this palette. So next up, this is from Tom Ford. It's their like sculpting palette. This is an Intensity 1. They have since released, I think, a darker shade and a lighter shade. So there's like 4 total now. This is from Collab, and I think this is fantastic. I guess you can call these dupes. The coloring is very close. I don't see why you couldn't just buy this one. And there are your swatches. The top is the Tom Ford, and the bottom is the Collab. I mean, I do enjoy the sculpting element of it. It is a little warm on me, but I don't mind because, you know, I'm just gonna throw some bronzer over it, so it just really gives you really great dimension. But it's those white shades. They leave this really beautiful, natural looking highlight. There, now I think you can see the white better. They just make your skin, okay, now I will say that the white in the Tom Ford gives off a lot more glow. But I mean, for the price difference, the Collab is just fine. But I mean, if they sold that white from Tom Ford by itself, I would get it. It's just that like wet skin, but not gross and sweaty. Just, I don't know. Love them both though. Lastly, we have Sunset from Hourglass. This is gonna look gross, but I mean, I use this a lot. So you have a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. The highlight is very cream to powder, whereas these two still feel like cream to creamy powder. The tone of this is more universal, I think, than the Tom Ford and Collab that I showed you. I really hope they extend the shade range because, like, obviously I would just want like a bronzer and like 2 highlighters. And those are swatches. It is just universally flattering, I think. I think you would have to be very dark in order for this bronzer to not work for you. And then I think even if you're very fair, you could do this because it blends out. But I just love this. That blush color is so good. I'm just happy. I wouldn't have gotten this if it was like a pink blush. Like I can do like coral orange peach, but I can't. Pink is like kind of hard for me to wear. I always think I look, I don't know. I don't like it, but keeping this. So this is the declutter pile. We have 12 palettes, really good. Okay, for the keep pile, there is also 12. I mean, so really good here. This was excellent. I'm really glad I got rid of a lot of them. I think a lot of them I knew I was gonna get rid of because they've been in my collection for so long, but some of them were kind of like, okay. But I'm very, very happy, and I would recommend everything here to you. Like, I just really like everything in here. So moving on.